Hi everybody, welcome to Cooking for Two. In today's video, I am going to show you how to use a few leftovers to make a delicious breakfast casserole. I made this last weekend and I made just a very small one and it was so good that I'm going to double it for a full 9x13 pan today. But feel free to cut the recipe in half if you want to make a smaller one. All right, I am going to start by greasing this 9x13 pan. I'm just putting a little olive oil in there. Now, one of the leftover things I'm using is some leftover French fries. Now, if you don't have leftover French fries, feel free to use just regular frozen fries, but this is a great way to use up leftover fries. And now that I'm cooking for two, I'm always cooking too many fries. And as you can see, there are two different kinds. Like this is leftover from one night and these are leftover from a different day, but it doesn't matter. It all goes in there in the bottom. Okay, now the next thing is we're going to add some meat. Last week I used some leftover sausage. This week we are going to use some sandwich ham. Use what you have. I think you could even get away with using hamburger or some leftover cooked bacon, whatever you have. My husband and I have been buying the Deli ham, and we can get about a week's worth of suppers or whatever from 1 pound. And this is a Smithfield, Virginia ham, and it was $7.99 a pound, and I had a coupon, so I got it for $5.99 a pound. We made some Italian sandwiches out of it last night on some hamburger buns. And now tonight, we're going to use it in this casserole. This casserole will be big enough to do us for tonight and several breakfasts left over. And it is delicious left over. I'm just going to cut some of this ham up right on that next layer. This doesn't take hardly any time prep, but then it's going to take some time in the oven. So just plan ahead with it. And if you don't have the meat, you could get by making this without the meat too. So use what you have for leftovers. And we always get this Deli ham cut thin, and then that way we can stretch it a little further. Okay, there it is. And you can see after me making 2 meals out of it, and this casserole is going to do several meals, I still have a lot of ham there. All right, now I'm going to crack 8 eggs right in here. If you're making the pie plate size instead of the 9x13, then you're going to want 4 eggs. Okay, you can add some salt and pepper if you want to. I'm not going to add any salt because that ham and french fries is pretty salty, but I am going to put some pepper in there. And then to that, I'm going to add 1 cup of milk. And if you're doing the pie plate size, it would be 1/2 cup of milk with the 4 eggs. Now I'm going to add some colored pepper to this. That's completely optional, but I have a piece of a pepper left from making those Italian sandwiches last night, so we might as well put a little bit of that in with these eggs. And that's why I love this recipe, because it's so adaptable with whatever you have on hand. And when you're cooking for 2, you have a lot of odds and ends on hand that you don't want to have wasted. Okay, and I'm just going to cut this pepper right up in there. You can use frozen peppers if you have those. Okay. Now we're just going to pour this right over all of that. We need to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Okay, now I got a little cheddar cheese here. We're going to use some of that. I don't think it's going to be enough, but I've got some other partial cheeses in there. Nope, moving on to the next kind. This is some of the seriously sharp cheddar slices, but they're getting all broken up in the bag. So we'll just add some of that. Okay, I still want just a little bit more. And this one is a pizza blend. We're going to finish it off with that. About probably 2 cups over the top of this, using whatever combination you've got. Okay, that looks good. Then I have just this little bit of purple onion left from the Italians and some other stuff I've been making, and I'm going to get that laid over the top. Okay. And as you can see, that little bit of onion over there is enough. It doesn't take a lot of stuff to be enough. Let's put a little more pepper on top. It looks beautiful already. Okay, now I'm just going to cover this with some foil, and we're going to put it in that 350-degree oven for 40 minutes covered, and then we'll take the aluminum foil off and just let that cheese brown a little bit on the top. And I will see you back then. And there it is. It's beautiful. I'm not going to taste test this one for you guys because we just had this last week. It is delicious. You're going to love this recipe. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.